Okay guys, welcome back to the Ron Williams YouTube channel. Guess what? We're going to look at the lower back and some things that can actually cause us problems in our lumbar area. This is one of the common places that we get injuries, and that's in the lower back. It doesn't matter if you work out or not. 65% of all Americans, minimum 65% of all Americans, have lower back pain or have suffered with lower back pain. Now, we want to alleviate some of that in the gym. Now, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about squats and the dangers and also the benefits of squats. Squats is one of the best exercise for overall body development, but it's also one of the most dangerous exercises that you can do given that it's done wrong or using too much resistance or too much weight. Now, the objective here is with the squats, you want to make sure you're going after the largest muscle group in the body, which is the gluteus maximus. Many times when people squat, look at my knees, you'll notice most people, their knees, the first movement is they go forward. When they go forward, you're alleviating pressure from the hamstring. Now, the hamstring in a squat is very important because it's helping to support the knee joint. So, as you're going forward, the knees are going forward, all of the pressure is right there on the knee joint. You're getting some glute, but definitely a lot of quad, and you're not putting as much pressure on the hamstring. So I want you to try something for me right now. I want you to squat, let the knees go forward intentionally. Now that the knees are forward, put your hand on your hamstring right here. It should be fairly loose. Now, keep the hand there and sit the glutes back. You should feel a contraction. Now the hamstring is involved. So the first movement with the squat is the glutes are going back. And you'll notice my knees again. It's not this movement, but it's this movement. If my knees are forward over my toes, I'm putting too much pressure on that knee joint. And also with the squats, you want to be real careful with the lower back, because what happens is as you're going down, if you lean forward too far, what happens is you gut wrench on the way up. Oof, this is a horrible position. In a position like that, it's hard to spot a person unless you're spotting them from the side. Side spotters are dangerous because you have side spotters that are not thinking exactly the same. You have one that wants to jump in and help you early, one that wants to help and jump in late. If you're already in a bad position, somebody grabs it on this side, then grab it on that side, where's all the pressure going? To your lower back. Or if one grabs it and the other one doesn't, that's even more trouble. So the best way to spot is from behind. When you're spotting that person, you're squatting with them. You're not letting your arms go down and up, down and up. I'll show you that in another video where, where I'm using a demonstrator. And you'll see the importance and the impact of it. But if that person goes down and they go forward like this, you're in trouble. Even as a spotter, your arms sometimes get locked under their arms and you're stuck with this weight. The person that's carrying the weight, the only thing that he really can do is push the weight back or it rolls over the top of his head. We've got to get out of that position somehow. So that can become a very dangerous situation. I've seen all of it. I've seen it all happen. I've seen people get utterly injured. I've seen people fall to the floor with their faces, and the only reason the weight didn't hit their face is the bar. It kept the weights away from their face, but their face hits the floor with great impact. Not a pretty sight. So you want to be real careful with your spotting, real careful with your form. And that spotter should hold you in position. And as soon as you start to go forward, his job, get you back into position, because once you get totally out of position, there's no correction for that. There is no correction for it. So you want to be careful with the squats. The pressure goes directly into the lower back. All of your exercises with the lower back, all of your exercises that you're doing, you want to make sure when you're standing that the knees are slightly bent. Watch this. Look at my knees again. If I'm doing a lateral raise and my legs are completely straight, the pressure goes directly to the lower back, especially if I'm leaning back. But if I have a bend in my knees, there's some cushion. But when it's locked, there's no cushion whatsoever. Whatever lift I'm doing, if I'm doing it standing, I want my knees slightly bent, especially if the weights are coming up. If I'm doing a bicep curl, knees slightly bent. If not, they're locked out. Whatever weight I'm using, it goes into the lower back. That gives it cushion. So keep that in mind as you're working your body in standing movements and doing squats. Whatever it is you're doing, you want to stay protected. Now with this video, I also want to talk about the knees. The knees are really, really important. If you're doing squats, if you're doing leg extensions, if you're doing leg curls, whatever you're doing that involves those knees, lunges, you want to be extremely careful with your knee joint, because if you don't, you won't be able to work the quad, the hamstrings, and the glutes the way you're supposed to. If you're doing lunges and the knees are going way out forward, same principle as the squats. You want to make sure that you drop those glutes as you're doing your lunges. As you're doing leg extensions, I'm going to actually have to show you that so that you see the importance of it and the difference between doing a leg extension that's protective and a leg extension that's dangerous to the joint. Let's go do that, and I'm going to let you go for today. Boom. Okay, guys, we're going to go through the leg extension exercise. The reason why this one is so important to me is I see so many people create damage in the joint because of this exercise. And many times when I go in the gym, even some of the competitive bodybuilders are using this machine and they're manipulating the weight and they're really going for it, not realizing that the damage that's being created for later, they're not going to be able to do this exercise, and they think it's the squats, they think it's the leg press, but it really, the damage came from the leg extensions. The thing about this exercise is you have to extend the lower part of your leg, right? And as you extend the lower part of your leg, you're concentrating on contracting the muscle, the quadricep. But instead of just extending the lower part of the leg, I want you to try something a little bit different. I want you to contract from the hip flexor. So in other words, what I want you to do is pull the leg up. And then, even though you don't see the leg move because of the weight, you pull the knee up. That forces the hip flexor to contract, and it forces your hips to rotate back. Then you extend. Why is that? When the muscle is contracted, the pressure is off of the joint. But if you start from the very bottom and just extend the lower part of your leg, all the pressure in the very beginning of that repetition is the joint. So if you're there going, wham, 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 it's joint, 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 joint. Very little muscle. And you can pile so much weight on there doing that, and you're like, man, I'm getting stronger. Wham, wham, put 20 more on there, wham. But if you do it more focused and concentrated, you'll use half the weight, but you'll take all of the pressure off the joint, and you'll get twice the development. Let me show you what it looks like. Okay, we're here. So the first movement is, contract, the muscle is engaged, and now, I'm extending. Keep that contraction. See, that's burning, just 2 reps. All the way up. Okay, now as he hones in a little bit closer with the camera, I want you to see this. I'm gonna do it again. And notice my quad. Notice what happens to my quad. The first thing I do is, I contract here. And you see that the muscles are slightly contracted in this position. Now the pressure is off of the joint. So now at this point, I extend without the pressure being on the joint. Now hold that, I hold it. But if I stop completely, I can just flip the weight up like this, up and down. That's bad for your knee joint. But if I contract again, contract it, hold it there, now squeeze forward. More focused. more concentrated. That's going to help protect the knee joint itself, develop the muscle, give you what you're looking for, which is growth and more definition. So I hope you like this video. Right below, or send me a message below. We've got some things that are coming up that I think you guys are really going to love. We're starting our Champion Life program. We've already started traveling, spreading it across the country. We'll be in New York in 2 days. After that, the following week, we'll be in Washington doing a huge convention. And after that, we'll be in Sacramento, California. So we've got some new things that we have coming up. We're putting our programs out. We've already got them out in the churches. It's called Faith in Fat Loss, Your Ultimate Fat Loss System. And we're putting out the Champion Life program. So when you guys are ready within the next 4 weeks, you can be one of our first initial people to get started. We're really excited about what we're doing. We're really excited about working with you. So leave your comments below, and we look forward to hearing from you. God bless you. Coach out.